What up, everybody out there in podcast land? Thank you for tuning in yet again to another episode of Kane and Ross present the Yeah I Said It podcast. Where we're expressing what our full capabilities and see they might want us in correctional facilities. Um, Brainchild of my child. I am the dad half of this operation, Ross Cooper. Um, you can tell if you're watching or listening. I'm in some kind of mood, not my usual upbeat, excited, on fire self, with good reason. And one thing that hasn't changed, I am always rocking with the best. My co-host, please, 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 introduce yourself to the folks.
Don't want to believe in my mind, but you believe in my dump. Yeah, well, what's good, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good day. Well, as best day in the week as you possibly can. Um, you'll listen on the other platforms. Please share with your friends, family, pets, and all that stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Please, we will appreciate it. I'm not gonna say if you don't right now, because yeah, I don't feel like it. Probably not the best time to. So yeah.
Yeah, we're so 2 days ago there was a mass shooting
Another one.
in Texas, because a few days before that there was a mass shooting in Buffalo. Stop me if you've heard this one. And this one really, really sucks because loss of life is always bad, right? Obviously. But the best way to describe this is Sandy Hook Part 2. I will warn everyone ahead of time. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is really just our thoughts and opinions on things that have happened. Because quite honestly, the facts of what have happened, besides the obvious, are kind of shaky. And this is one of those moments where you check major news outlets and you try to get information, and it's like, what can be confirmed, what can't, and the nature of why that is also quite troubling. We'll get to that. But we have um, 18 dead children, two dead teachers. It was a mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, a town not too far outside of San Antonio. That, based on what I could find factually, is a relatively cash strapped, shall we say, town. I don't like to say poor because there's connotations that come with that. But I think the median income was around 20 to 22,000. It's a primary Latino town, and an 18-year-old using AR style rifle, AR-15 style rifle. Watch, get careful in the language because again, mainstream media said AR-15 type or AR-15 style, which means I don't know if we necessarily know exactly what weapon was used. So you gotta keep your eyes and ears open when you're dealing with stuff in the mainstream media. But shot his grandmother in the head, crashed a truck, ran into a school, barricaded himself in, and slaughtered the kids in the classroom as well as the teachers. Where this gets more, shall I say, interesting is the reaction of the so-called, and I use the term loosely, heroes. He was eventually killed by Border Patrol. But from the time he entered that school to the time of his death, there's a lot of confusion going on. But first and foremost, as a parent, as a world citizen, um, I am hurt. I am borderline numb. I am really upset at how normal mass shootings and death have become. And like I said, some of the circumstances surrounding this are very troubling. But I'll toss the lob to you, sir. Your initial thoughts.
Um, Rest in peace to all those that died. Because like I said, I've seen a story that, one of the teacher's husbands died from heartbreak. Go figure. That's sad. And they left behind 4 other kids. So hopefully they're taken care of and not in the system as well. And yeah, I'm not gonna say thoughts and prayers because that's protocol. But I mean, when I heard it, I mean, it sucks to say, but not surprised. Of course, everybody's mad and thoughts and prayers, and we point the finger at our politicians, and point the finger at the NRA for owning the politicians. There's a whole lot of stuff. Of course, forget that. Forget the politicians because the NRA. I still don't know how if like you said the medium is pretty low for a cost of lead. I don't know how, we don't know exactly what type of gun he has, but clearly it was something special and apparently cost some money that was bought legally. I think that's the part we do know. How he got the money to do it, I don't know. But how easy it was for him to do it, that's a problem. But, or whoever got it from him, that's a problem. But yeah, the hero thing. I don't even. There's so many layers to this crap. I don't even know where to start. Excuse me if I'm looking around I'm trying to think how I'm going to say what I want to say. But yeah, I guess I'll start the hero thing. Yeah, the hero thing. You guys are not heroes, you're cowards. And cowards is the most best thing I can say because there should be no reason. Now I'm going off of what I did see in articles I did read, and people, actual people on the scene and videos of what happened. Said cops were called, got there in like 10 minutes. You waited for backup from the border patrol and all that for, I think they said 77 minutes. They were 45 minutes away, so you waited 77 minutes to actually go in and do something while he was in there doing what he did. And I said, I got another article saying that, or article or whatever video, the officer saying they didn't want to go in there, that were already on the scene with guns and badges, holding the law, protecting people, because they did not want to be shot. That's cool. Like, I understand you don't want to be shot. That is a reasonable thing. I don't think anyone wants to be shot. But, the sad part is, I'm going to say the obvious last, but, there's people in there actually getting shot. I'm sure everyone getting shot. And, you have a badge and a gun, it's your fucking job. I'm sorry. But you signed up for that. Like, I'm sorry, that's what you signed up for. If you put your life, like I said, if you have a kid too, you signed up for it. You're supposed to help protect and mold that person to be the best. So, the parents of the people who aren't cowards wanted to go in. And y'all still had time to put some bass in your voice and be like, nah, you can't go in. Okay. So if you tell me I can't go in, you're not going in. So what are we doing? What are we doing? And I'll tell you this right now. If that was me, if I was one of the parents, and I'm not shading any of the parents that were there, I'm saying, you're going to have to shoot me. So I'm going in regardless. So, but scared to get shot. I'm not going to say the other things. I don't know if that other thing is true. Maybe you talk. I don't know if that's true. So I'm not going to put that one out. But you definitely did wait. That is true. And you definitely, one of your fellow persons actually did release a statement that, yeah, they didn't want to be shot. So you were shook. Ain't no such thing as halfway cops, man. What's going on? This is your job, man. This is what you signed up for. This is how you become a big hero. But it seems that when somebody actually wants to smoke and there's actual danger, y'all want nothing to do with it. But when there's someone who is not a threat, or you think is a threat, but really isn't a threat, it's trigger finger. It's a quick trigger. So if somebody got something for you, I don't want to do it. It's like, man, I don't know how Blue Lives Matter defend this crap. I mean, they shouldn't be able to defend all the other crap either, but they can use, you know, whatever they usually use. But this one is like, you had a chance to be a hero. You had a chance to do your job and protect people and use your gun for actually good purpose for a real threat. But you didn't. You waited. You were scared. Cowards. But other than that, it's just sad. Like I said, it's sad. Like I said, I don't really. The only solution I have, because we do like to have solutions, is at least for the school shooting tip. No homeschool, obviously. Like, if you can, you should probably do it. It's sad that we had to get to this point, but you probably should. Then props to you, my co-host, because you suggested that idea a long time ago. I think when this whole pandemic started 2 years ago, it was like, well, yeah, it sucks being at home, but everyone's being homeschooling. And guess what we didn't have during that time when everyone was inside? Man, school shootings.
School shootings.
We didn't really have really mass shootings either because everybody was inside. But I don't know how to solve the mass shooting in general. That part, that's a whole nother thing. But the school shooting part is kind of simple. Homeschooling, virtual learning. But everything else, I got nothing. I got nothing. So I've been talking forever. Go ahead.
I mean, layers and levels. We discuss layers and levels here, and there's so many layers
A lot.
and levels to all of this. Like, this is going to stir up the gun control debates again from the liberals and the left wing, and this is also going to, in response, stir up the Second Amendment, right to bear arms, but what I consider to be a bullshit debate. Biden has gone on record. President Joe Biden has gone on record saying, the Second Amendment is not absolute. That's going to make a lot of people nervous.
Let's see what happens.
If this is that sad reality that we must face when we deal with the pigs and the police force. If this were little white kids in Utah, would there be so much hesitance? These are the uncomfortable conversations and questions we really need to start asking ourselves. Because if we're truly serious about being better as a nation, better as a country, putting the past in the past, fulfilling King's dream, not the color of the skin, but the content of character, then we really need to start diagnosing and talking about the problems as they are. There are racist cops. There are prejudiced cops. This is a primarily Latino community, and I don't know the makeup of law enforcement. But it's either way. If law enforcement demographics reflect that of the town, then that plays into that great blue wall. And once you put on that badge and gun, you're no longer really a person, you're a pig now. If law enforcement does not reflect the demographics of the town, you somehow, in a city that is overwhelmingly Latino, have an overwhelmingly white police force. That also explains some things, quite possibly. And I hate that we have to be those people here, but this is why we have the platform, and we have to ask the tough questions. If these are little white kids in Utah, do we have the same result? Do we have the same hesitance? How the hell do you, as a police force, and let me back up. Initially, law enforcement being championed as heroes. I live in Texas. Governor Greg Abbott came out and talking about how, law enforcement are heroes. Ted Cruz, I do believe, was quoted at some point, maybe not at this point, but earlier, the issue is we need more hands and more guns in the hands of the good guys. You had a legion of quote unquote good guys. Looks like this was an epic fail on a lot of levels. There were parents, and this is also the case of, this is why we need social media. People have an issue with social media, but most of what we knew initially came from mainstream media, telling us how this guy was killed, how the police are heroes, so on and so forth. And then videos surfaced from parents who were actually there. And somehow the police couldn't manage to make their way into this building But they definitely had a whole bunch, as you said, bass in your voice, so to speak, for parents who were rightfully anxious, scared, incensed. Like, you're here to protect and serve. You took the oath to do that. Why are we standing here listening to shots and our kids being slaughtered? So when some parents is like, yo, fuck this, we about to run up in there and handle shit ourselves. Yo, it's Texas. Everybody got the blicky. Then the cops wanted to get all big and bad and stop them. Now, there was also another ugly rumor. And again, this came based off a video that surfaced with an interview with one of the officers, that some of them managed to make their way into the building to check on their kids. That is high level. Wow, that is high level despicable. And I get it. I get it. Well, at that moment, you're a human and you're concerned about your kid. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the fail. Here's the fail. If I am running through the building, I'm running through the school, I'm a cop, I'm running through the school, and I'm concerned about my kid. If I am trying to find my kid, what am I not trying to find? The shooter. So I'm running through this building trying to find my kid, not the shooter. So what happens if I find my kid? I get him out, I get them out. Do I still go look for the shooter? Or is it simply, let me go kill two birds with one stone and find the shooter? Because I killed the shooter, by default, my kid is no longer in danger. I don't think even in a crisis situation, that's too much of a leap. Not to mention, I'm not trained for this situation. You all are. It makes common sense to find the shooter. Somehow, how did a tragedy of this magnitude become propaganda? How do we get to this point of, in this tragedy, the cops are the heroes, and come to find out, hold on there. Eventually, yeah, you did your job. There's a nice gap of time between when this cat ran up in the school and when he died. And that's where a lot of questions are getting raised right now. Not even the bigger questions of gun control. And so, let's talk about right there, that stretch of time. There's some serious questions being asked. And I'm not sure exactly what the answers are. But based on what mainstream media is saying, what I've seen on social media and everything else, and again, I'm not saying social media is law. I'm just saying folks that were there paint a different picture. And I don't know where when I start thinking, okay, well, how do we prevent this going forward? How do we prevent the monster? We need to have a conversation about bullying. We need to have a conversation about mental health. We do need to have a conversation about gun control and their necessity. I think those are the three. And at the back end of all of this, we do need to have a conversation about law enforcement. But your thoughts, sir, solution wise, where are some points you think we need to have a conversation about?
As I already said, one a school shooting thing, homeschool. Now mass shooting things, I don't know. So we can say gun control, and then people, that's a broad statement. What is gun control? Is it banning certain guns? Is it not banning certain guns, but having a stricter review process or background checks? Is it, this will never happen? Ban all guns. I don't know what, everyone seems to be divided. And honestly, the first two that I just said, it's not going to do anything, in my opinion. So the last solution is the one that's obviously not going to happen because of something that was written hundreds of years ago by racist white people who we did not adapt, which we did not adapt to the times we are in now. We should not be following rules that were written hundreds of years ago when just about everyone else had no rights except for one person, one type of person. which was Caucasus men. Everyone else had no rights, including Caucasus women. So why are we still following that shit from hundreds of years ago when clearly not everything, but some things have changed? So because of that paper and everyone's so willing to die for that paper and let other people die for that, that's never going to change the whole no guns things, even though it's worked in other places. And that's another thing. I know why we have this problem in this country, and then I also don't, because no one else has this problem. This happens like it's literally a rare sight in other countries. Here, like the second place or country to us in mass shootings and school shootings doesn't even have half of what we had. Not even half. We're at 200 plus already. If my math is correct, that's more. We've had more shootings than every day we've had this year.
That is absolutely correct.
All right, that's not good.
And
Oh my,
for what I understand, the definition of mass shooting is a shooting in which 4 or more people are shot. So, yeah.
that's still not good. I mean, obviously every place has murder and shootings. I'm not going to disclaim that, but like as you said, mass shooting with 4 or more people get shot or killed, and we're in the 200s. And a lot of that's in schools, markets, church, wherever you are. And that's not it's not good. And like we're running away with it. It's a blowout right now. This should not be happening. And other places don't have this problem. And I'm trying to think why, because not every place banned guns completely. I don't know what the issue is.
And see, I think that might be a good place to start because, like you just said, people, it amazes me. And again, I will say out and out, this is reflective of my upbringing in the glorious Empire State. My view on guns is totally different than someone in Texas, than someone in Florida. It is not a part of my life. It was not a part of my culture, and we were good. Now, I also don't want to argue with facts and stats. It is shown that open carry states have lesser amounts of certain kinds of crime. But the thing is, at least in my perfect utopian world, on my John Lennon ish, if you confiscated all the guns, then you can just solely focus on the illegal ones. But people are so married to don't come for my guns. And when I start asking why, it gets hollow to me. I had a good conversation with a lady friend of mine, and she was explaining how, what about some psychopath that tries to assault her, so on and so forth. Legit. But there are non lethal ways or ways beyond guns that you can use in that situation. Because truth be told, if you have a handgun, you gotta have a certain amount of aim. That's one. Um, a taser, that's close quarters. That's much more, I would think, effective than if somebody running up on me or we wrestling and tussling. I can a lot easier than I can shoot you in a couple thousand volts to calm your ass right down real quick. Um, the thing I was trying to get to, America has a problem with hubris. We have this thought that, excuse me, America has this thought that the way it's being done is the best way to do it. That's the best way you can possibly do it. America doesn't get health care right. America doesn't get maternity leave right. America doesn't get women's rights right. But you look at other countries and you see their maternity leave and you see their universal health care. And it's like America hasn't gotten the work week right. We still 40 hours a week, 40 hours a week, 4 hours a week. And very few jobs, let's be really, really real here. Lately, very few jobs can you put 40 hours in and be okay. But America thinks America has it right. And there's a lot of evidence that says, this whole gun thing, this whole Second Amendment thing, maybe you ain't got that right. Maybe you ain't got that right. But we Americans want to believe they have that right. And for the record, for anyone wondering why I keep saying Americans and not including myself in the conversation, a lot of melanin here for those who can't see me. I'm an African that got captured and sent here. I don't feel very American. July 4th, 1776 didn't really mean a whole bunch of shit to my ancestors. Just thought I'd put that out there. So yes, I separate myself from America. This country ain't never loved me. So why would I count myself amongst them? I live here. But yeah, that's about it. But um I don't know. We gotta start having tough conversations. And one of those tough conversations is, well, what if there were no guns? And the comeback I keep getting is, well, take the guns away, the government might blah 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 blah. And you and I have talked about this.
We ain't got shit for
You,
the government, bro. But just relax. We're not even going there. Like if the government, for one, the government has already bent you over with lube and just kiss you in the air saying take it. But if they decide and said they took off the rubber and said screw this, we're doing this the hard way, there's nothing you can do. Nothing. And I know what you're gonna say, militia, isn't it?
right.
No, that's not enough. Your best bet, your best argument would be that you're trying to go in the morality route that the U.S. Army and military won't fire on their own people. It's easy to do that against someone you don't know. It's a little hard to do that against your neighbors, someone you grew up with, or whatever. So that would be your best answer. Like, okay, so now we gotta see, are we dealing with some, people who follow orders, which is where a lot of tragedies happen in terms of military. Mm-hmm. And they're trained to follow orders. Mm-hmm. So that would be your best bet. Now, if your best bet is saying, I have a militia, I'm trained, I was ex-military, we gonna be good, we know the terrain, you can run us out of our cities and stuff, we'll just live in the woods. Okay, you're out of civilization, and I know where you are. I can blow that piece up whenever I want to, because you're in there. You're not going to be in civilization, because that's going to be locked the hell down. There ain't nothing you can do about that. So, yeah, stop it. Like, don't use the military. I mean, the government is going to come after us and be martial law. They kind of are coming after you already. They're just being real cute about it. So, no, and you're not doing shit about it. So it's like, no.
I mean,
it sounds good. I get you. The government, the boogeyman, and blah, blah, blah. But your AK, whatever, or you rich white boy, you got some actual military style weapons, and RPGs, grenades, and all that, which I'm pretty sure y'all do, means nothing. It's nothing.
I mean, here's another question though. Let's take it to the obvious route. Fam, if your thoughts on why we need guns, part of it is predicated on, well, we got to keep the government from such and such. All right, so here's just a real simple question. Why in the entire hell do you keep voting for people who pose that threat? Seriously, if you're concerned about not having guns partially is based on the government might try to do A, B, and C, then that tells me your goofy ass is voting for the wrong kind of people. And we just need to get rid of a system that would allow that shit to happen. Like why is this so? We gotta keep guns. You mean the guns that ain't gonna do shit for real?
It's not gonna do shit. And like I said,
I mean,
you're not doing shit about it now. Like I said, you don't trust them. You think X, Y, and Z is going to happen. So if you think X, Y, and Z, stop voting for the same damn people. I don't care what, left, right, up, down. I don't give a. It's the same stuff. We need something in the middle. Like, something different.
If I'm sitting at home with a few shotguns and ARs and grenades and maybe some RPGs and some other black market shit that I got, I don't know how you feel safe for real though. Like, do you feel safe against your average crackhead or your average robber? Sure. But this whole, well, if we don't have any guns, the government could. So you think your little arsenal is gonna work when you have, you got some body armor, so on and so forth. You got drones. You got something that can detect the drone. Because we are talking about the notion of, if what you're saying is true, we're talking about the notion of the U.S. military being turned against its own people. And if we can go drag Osama out of a fucking mountain, right, in a foreign land, how quickly do you think something a mission could be executed here where they have all the blueprints, know all the pressure points, know how to dismantle, you take out cell phone towers and a power grid, and 80% of these cities are done right there.
Yeah.
So that's what I was like, it misses me. I just raise my eyebrow when I hear this. Well, we need guns because if not, the government would. It just sounds borderline delusional. Maybe it's me. Maybe I don't know enough. But I'm like, me and my 20 homeboys that does military exercises on the weekends, that's cute and all, but drones, but nerve gas, but all the things that possibly get done in other countries, nod wink, nod wink. If it were done here, they would barely have to lift a finger. So I don't get I don't get why get rid of guns is not on the table. The
But
arguments I'm hearing don't make sense to me.
it's the Second Amendment, but more than that, and people were willing to die for that shit. But more realistically, the reasons is because of the NRA. That's pretty much why.
Or to pry it out of my cold dead hand,
Like,
Charlton Heston. Okay.
like this the NRA. Like, it's the reason why nothing was done when Sandy Hook happened. And we thought, okay, I don't remember what I said on that. I think you probably said like, okay, kids are dying now, something got to be done. I probably was like, yeah, I think I was like, yeah, maybe this is the turning point. A couple of years later, same thing happened. Not the turning point. Not the turning.
And the answer is not giving teachers guns.
Oh my, that is. I think I wrote an essay on that when I was in high school, a long ass time ago. But yeah, like teachers did not sign up to be, assassins or guards. I mean, there's so many layers to that. Like, I'm hearing the answer is okay, metal detectors, fences, uh, more guards or cops there, teachers' arms. Like, tell me if that sounds familiar.
Sounds like
The prison
prison.
pipeline was already there.
And that
So
time
now
for
you
another argument.
really want to get kids to go to a legit prison style school? Like, at least before, like I said, at least they're kissing you and making you feel good about it. You flat out do that. It's literally prison. Only difference is, yeah, you get to go home, but that's it. That's the only difference.
And then the other uncomfortable conversation we also need to have, because this country is this country. There is a sector of prejudice and or racist teachers because they incentivize new teachers, some of these teachers, to teach in inner city environments, shall we say. So you have these, lily white young teachers fresh out of college, so on and so forth, who may or may not have had any exposure to the culture and to places they're teaching in. And now you have prejudice and bias and maybe racism. Do you want a teacher to, because it's, how the pigs do it. I fear for my life. Now we didn't see many videos where these young folks and these students just bucking up against these teachers.
Oh
You
yeah.
just gave them a gun.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is gonna happen?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't even have to touch that. That was kind of obvious. That's it. We've all had crazy. We've
I
all
fear for
had
my
either.
life.
We've all had. Okay, we've all been to school for the most part. I hope. So we've all had that crazy, now one or two crazy teachers. It's like their screws probably definitely loose or they have a quick temper. So imagine that quick temper teacher had a gun in there. Instead of threatening you going to principal's attention, I'm gonna threaten this bullet in your ass. Like, nah, that's not the route. And plus, like I said, just for the craft, no one goes to school and becomes a teacher. One, for the money because it's ass, and two, they do it for the love. You want to teach, you want to help people, you want to, you know what I'm saying? Influence the new generation, even though your curriculum's ass, but you do the best you can. And like I said, so you gotta do that, and then I gotta also be trained to take out like shooters and stuff. Like that's not my job. I was like, why?
Right. You got teachers literally buying supplies out their own salary.
Out their own salary that should be supplied by the government. So you want
Where y'all gonna get? So y'all gonna Y'all gonna find money to train teachers to be shooters? Well, hey, shit, we found some billions to send to Ukraine. You never know. Oh, my bad.
See, I wasn't even going to touch that too.
My bad. Oops,
See,
my
like I
bad.
said, all of this can be solved. The gun problem can be solved. We're not going there, so I'm leaving that off the table. This is off the table. The gun thing is always going to be a problem, but everything else influenced by it, because like I said, I'm hearing that this guy got bullied. Whatever.
We gotta talk
All the
about that. We gotta talk
we'll,
about
we'll talk.
that.
I'll talk. We'll talk more in detail about that. But I'm just saying, a lot of problems. People are angry, depressed, embarrassed, whatever. A lot of mental stuff, right? And it is a direct side effect or symptom of poverty. You get rid of that, you solve a lot of freaking issues.
Mm.
Because then, if everyone is on an equal playing field, you won't. It would be kind of hard to be prejudiced. You can still be racist, but it would be kind of hard to be prejudiced. It'll kind of be hard to do this because then you won't have to have the stigma of urban or the hood or ghetto, blah. It wouldn't exist. So, like I said, a lot of symptoms I just named wouldn't exist, or at least not in abundance as it does now. So maybe that person wouldn't get bullied because everyone's on an equal playing field. What you gonna bully me for? You can't talk about my clothes. Is that we all got the same shit?
Or on a simple note,
Um,
uniforms.
and
Who wear
like I
uniforms?
said, get rid of poverty. You don't have to dump so much money or into military or police forces, and you can put it back in the communities so everyone can fucking flourish. So then you can cut the pig's budget, but like I said, education, other stuff. So teachers can get paid more. Everyone can get paid more. Kids have more supplies, and if they choose the option because of the gun problem that's never going to go away, can have the supplies and the funds to be homeschooled. So then everything's on that kind of, like I said, that kills the school shooting part. Then poverty kills a whole lot of other shit. Doesn't involve. So it's simple solution. Those are my two solutions. It's simple. I know the poverty thing's not going to happen because this system, as much as everyone fucking loves it so much, there has to be a winner and a loser, and it's a whole ecosystem. Without poverty, this whole thing fails. So
It's too much money. It's too much money being made off the
way
poor.
too much money. We
Too
can
much
go
money being made off the poor.
like I said, it's a banks, prisons, school, everything is connected. Everything that we do is freaking connected. So that part will never change because people are so confident and want to be rich and all that shit, and will probably never be. But keep the dream alive. Made them people who control with desire and fear. Typical
Especially in
things,
this country.
right?
Yeah.
But,
I mean, and like I'm sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, like I said, that we were talking about solutions, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my.
And I mean, we have to have a conversation about bullying. I think there needs to be a paradigm shift. People my age and slightly younger have this notion of, well, kids today are soft. The kids don't know how to handle blah, blah, blah. You need to toughen up. When do we shift the focus to the bully? This country loves to deal with the after effects of the monster. This country is punitive, not preventative. We don't want to deal with we don't want to prevent the monster. And true story, after you were having some issues in school, I literally came and sat in school and sat in sixth grade for a day because I need to see whose kids do I need to call a meeting with their parents. Because I'm not going to sit here and tell you, go punch some kid in the face. I'm going to go sit down and talk with their parents and maybe punch them in the face. No, I'm kidding. But I'm going to sit down and talk with some parents and say, hey, your kid has a problem with my kid, and I'm going to have a problem with you. Let's talk this out like adults. But there's a lot of, kids need to toughen up. That's not preventing the monster. And what I did see from that day sitting in your classroom way back when, Of course, you couldn't see because you lived it. But I'm like, okay, so this kid is oversized, probably held back a grade. He's projecting his own inferiority. Okay, this kid is like 2 inches shorter and 30 pounds lighter, so he's a little bitty something. Again, he's got an inferiority complex. I can see that. I'm sure the teachers could see that. But it's like to ask you or ask the people being bullied to change, to get tougher, blah, blah, blah. We are not addressing the thing that causes us to even say that. This is not the 60s, 70s, or 80s anymore. This is high stakes. Kids who get bullied kill other kids. It's not a schoolyard fight anymore. They go home and get guns and kill other kids. We don't put that on the kids being bullied. We need to prevent the monster. But that's mental health, that's social services. This is why we say defund the pigs, because before they say, well, it's not enough money, oh, it is. New York Pig Department does not need $10 billion. Just for example. So we need to shift the conversation about bullying. Dylan Klebold and his partner in Columbine. Why did that happen? Because they were bullied. We need to talk about what's going on at home, because I'm like, how did you get to AR-15 style rifles and ammunition and nobody caught any of that? Nobody. It's and this is, again, we're talking school shooting. Going back to what you said about mass shooting, well, that's a different conversation. Because now we're talking about accessibility to guns. Now we have to talk white supremacy, and those are very uncomfortable conversations for a lot of people. The other downside about all of this is because the shooter is Latino, because there are kids involved, we suddenly stop having a conversation about white supremacy and angry white men who want to kill people, as was the case literally a week ago in Buffalo. That conversation has gone away. And that's not saying it shouldn't. We are talking dead kids. But both of these conversations can happen concurrently.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, like, we can talk about mental health and bullying and talk about white supremacy. We can talk about all of these things and accessibility to weapons. Like, all of these conversations can occur. Hell, the Congress is really good at creating subcommittees and such, then commit a committee on both. We need to talk about white supremacy. We need to talk about domestic terrorism. We also need to talk about mental health. We also need to talk about, what are we asking of our teachers? My gosh. Talking to a good teacher friend of mine that's probably going to be a guest in a little bit, and some of the stuff she was telling me that they have to do. And what I walked away from the conversation with, like, she's telling me they start seeing signs and recognizing certain mental things early as first and second grade. Well, I'm like, well, if you see little Johnny likes to rip the legs off ants and torture birds in second grade, what do? What happens to Johnny by the time he's in 5th, 8th, 11th grade? What do we do here? I don't know. But there are conversations that need to be had. And I it sounds cliche. It sounds cliche as shit. I'm aware. But how many more? How many more dead bodies? How many more dead kids is it going to take?
A lot more.
I can only hope you're kidding. I can only hope you're wrong.
I'm not kidding. Yeah. Like I said, the whole bully thing, prevent the monsters and stuff. I said, kids nowadays are not soft. They're actually the exact opposite, because you said toughen up. Okay. If the adult's not going to take care of it, I'll do it myself. That's what's happening. And then we're going to say, oh, now everyone's concerned. Oh, now he's the monster. When the whole time you didn't listen when the real monsters was creating this monster. Like I said, this country has a way of punishing the monster, but never punishing or preventing, the creators.
Mm.
Like I said, all them people in prison, some of them are just naturally like that, sure. Some of them, a lot of those people in prisons, and all that, probably from impoverished situations, all that shit could have been prevented. Somebody
Ooh,
actually
Carol,
let, if somebody
you
actually
gonna
listen, caught the signs, you know, there's a whole lot of stuff behind that because there's
you
some
gonna you
people who are
gonna
not fit to be parents at all.
you gonna ruffle some feathers with that one,
Why?
because you start doing that and you start having that conversation that law and order people love to have, which is, well, you know um everyone has a choice. Then you start bumping into the other conversation that certain people from those environments love to have, which is, well, I came from the same environment and I made it out. So it's a huge lack of empathy there. It says, hey, I'm from the hood, I made it out. It's about choices.
Everyone,
Uh,
and that's dumbass thing, and I hate that. We all know we all know everyone is different. Everyone contemporalize processes things different. Everyone takes stuff different. Like I said, I can say something, somebody say something to you, say the same thing to me. I might take it a different way you take it. Certain situation, same situation happen to you that happen to me, I might take it a different way you might take it, or handle it a
right.
different way you might take it. You don't know what we don't know. Like I said, we don't understand what people are going. Even if you were from the same environment, doesn't you're not the same person. Don't have the same mindset. You don't know what's going on in that house, who's around them, who's influencing them. You don't know what the hell is going on. You just
Yeah.
projected because of yourself. Well, newsflash, mother. Everyone can wear your shoes. You damn sure can't wear theirs. So once we realize that, it's like, okay, we're not going to say, well, I would have. No,
But, yeah.
it's
But
not
I
what you
mean,
would. It's not you. You're not in that situation.
right.
You don't know. Everyone is different. That's why I said we can't have this simple mentality that we fucking grew up being taught that one way works, one size fits all type mentality. When we all know statistically that does not work in teaching, learning, personalities, mental health, everything. Everyone is different. I'm not saying there's people who aren't similar because there are. It's a billions of people, so obviously somebody's going to be similar. But other than that, we're all freaking different. So no, we can't use. That's why I say a lot of this can be prevented if you fucking pay attention. Like I said, one, we're not. We haven't really touched on the abortion thing. Like I said, forcing everybody to be here. Okay, you don't give about the people who are here. This is
Mm.
why I have a problem. It's like honestly, it's a real tough thing to say. You might be doing them a favor if you know what I'm saying, before they even get here. Depending on their
Mm.
situation, you honestly might be doing them a favor. And that's a
Mm.
fucked up thing to say, but that should tell you how fucked up society is.
Yeah,
Like,
and
why
that's
would
the
you want to bring
thing.
something into this world? Not to mention, if you are in an impoverished situation, you shouldn't have a kid anyway. Honestly, a lot of parents should not be parents. Some
And
has to
that
do with income. Well, a lot has to do with income and the environment. And the other has to do with just mental space. You might have all the funds and me to take care of a child, but you're not fucking mentally there. And if
right.
you have a mentally unstable parent or parents, it doesn't matter what situation you're in, that child is fucked. So
Mm.
no, like it's a whole cycle of things that we can do to prevent things that we're not going to do because then it gets really uncomfortable and then a lot
Mhm.
of more steps need to be taken but no one wants to do that because microwave era, we need stuff done now and we always play the blame game. We need to blame somebody has to wear the boogeyman mask even though the boogeyman is right in your damn face. But
And,
hey,
like you said, my issue with a lot of pro-lifers and I don't want abortion, blah blah blah. You don't want to care for you don't want to take care of the kid that you don't want aborted. How that work? Don't get an abortion. Don't get an abortion. Don't be
okay,
on welfare. Don't apply for no free aid. you don't want to take care of the kid once it gets here. So that's why I'm like,
You don't.
y'all, wow.
And
Like,
the
y'all,
funny thing
wow.
is, the pro-lifers, I like this. Like I said, unless you Angela Jolie or something, you like adopting like 50,000 kids. I don't want to hear a goddamn thing about your pro-life, bro. Because a lot of them, if you ask, because somebody actually did an interview, like people doing a pro-life protest. It's like, all right, how many kids you adopted? None. Are you planning to? No. Okay. How many kids you adopted? None. Why not? I have 2 kids of my own. Oh, so you, so it's like,
Mind your own
wait, you're
vagina,
not
homie.
doing nothing to help.
Right, right. Just mind your own vagina. How about that?
Right?
How
Like, bro,
about you mind your own vagina, and if you don't have one, tall glass or shut the fuck up.
like, bro.
All
Even,
right, right. It's really
but
that simple.
but then the like I said, it's women that are extremely pro-life.
Oh, that's my point. But
That
that goes back to what I just said. Mind your own vagina, and don't worry about what someone else is doing with theirs.
exactly.
It's kind of like the homophobes. That homophobia requires a lot of effort of me worrying about what you're doing with your in your bedroom. I don't have that kind of energy.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
I don't. Do you love them? They love you. High five. Go. I don't have that kind of energy. Mind your own. It's like no, you shouldn't get abortions. Well, then you don't get one.
All right.
What they got to do with what they got to do with somebody else's vagina?
It got nothing to do with you.
Right.
Like I said, honestly, hate to be on they no voice, but it's mercy. They'll never know. Like, cause you gonna bring a kid in this shit?
I
Really?
mean, there, and that goes back to perspective. I am convinced there's way more beauty in the world than we give it credit for. It's not a complete and total
The
cesspool.
world, yes. Humans, no. That's where we disagree.
That too. Like
I disagree.
there's just not the
I
media, and
disagree.
this is the problem of the media. The media will have you believe she's just so bad. It's horrible. It's oh my god, how no, there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good things, but the problem, at least in this culture, especially, is we celebrity worship. So since Johnny Depp and Amber Heard is going through it right now, relationships don't work. Since Kanye and Kim is not working right now, relationships don't work. Never mind, the people on your block that's been married for 30 years and happy. But we are fed, and the power of media is amazing.
It's elite. Elitism.
Yeah,
elitism. That's why I said humans.
Elitism is celebrity
worship. If we know, if you know that we're being misled and they're trying to paint a picture that life is miserable, and yet we still fucking follow it, then it is miserable. There's very few people, like it's the whole thing we talked about before, racist. Everyone is not racist. But there's a lot of different people that fuels that shit. The same way we're here. Like I said, not everyone is living life miserably and being horrible human beings. No, that's not everybody. But the fact you just sitting there and it's like it is what it is. And trust me, I would say it is what it is to death to motherfuckers. But some stuff is just like, nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not participating in it. A lot of people don't do that.
Right.
We still participate. That's majority. And since it's majority, this is why I have beef for humans. Because all this shit could be avoidable. That what happened last week could have been avoidable. All this could be avoidable. That's why I don't feel bad for people when situations like this happen. We say thoughts and prayers when it all could have been avoided. But we're all going to sit there upset, give freaking a million reasons why this happened, a million reasons why this can't happen. But we're never going to sit down and actually use that anger, that guilt, whatever emotion, strong emotion you have, and actually do something. It's a cycle. Like I said, I sent you a picture of a cycle. It's literally happening. The tragedy happened. Something else is happening. Like I said, you pointed at it. I didn't even say it. The Johnny Depp and Amber Heard bullshit. Like, I don't give a fuck. Kids just got murdered and they're suing each other for 100 million and 50 million. Money that the majority of us do not fucking have. Why do we care? Why? Problems. Why do we care? Distractions. Like I said, you just said it. There's teachers getting paid ass juice and have to pay out their own pocket to pay for supplies for kids that they're teaching. And we're worried about millionaires when the majority of us are not millionaires. We care more about what's going on in the fucking playoffs than we do reality. People willing to die and go to jail for that shit. It makes no fucking sense. I understand entertainment is the biggest money in this whole goddamn world. I get it. That's not reality. And I understand, well, I just want to get away from, you know what? It's like saying I want to get away from my dirty house, right? Go outside, smell the roses, then go to somebody else's house. You know, if you cleaned your house, you wouldn't have that feeling of I need to get away. So if we cleaned up our reality, which is attainable, why would we feel the need to escape? Does anyone ever fucking think about that? No, we don't. No. We'd rather just get away and push it to the side. That's my problem with humans. This is why I say it was some bullshit. And this is a cycle that's going to keep continue. We're a fucking hamster on a wheel, man. We all are. It's like, I don't know what to do to change this shit. Because I don't have Magneto's power. Well, not Magneto, Professor X's power to just mind control motherfuckers to do shit. I don't have the Infinity Stones to just clear people's minds. So I don't know what the solution is. Because we're stuck. And that's my issue. We're stuck. And this is why I say y'all all bullshitters. This is why I don't like it.
And I think the problem is we're willingly stuck. We're willingly stuck. At least in this country, we're willingly stuck. You know, I ask myself, and I know it sounds broad, right? I know it sounds broad, but I ask myself, what did I do with my freedom today? Because I get it. I'm not, free-ish since 1865. I know. But the reality of the situation is there are freedoms we enjoy. You have the freedom to pay attention to bullshit or focus on real things. You have the freedom of what you eat, what you consume. And what you consume isn't just what you eat, it's what you expose yourself to, what conversations you're having, the people you're around.
Yeah.
Right. What did you do with your freedom today? And I try to mitigate what I'm exposing myself to, the thoughts I'm having. Am I thinking about, hey, what does revolution look like if it came down to it? Here, what are the problems? What are the possible solutions? And I get told, oh, you too serious. Oh, you need to lighten up. Sam, have you looked outside? Y'all looking at me like, Ross, you too mad. And I'm looking at y'all like, y'all ain't mad fucking enough. And then the cycle, like you talked about, begins. Dead bodies, thoughts and prayers, arguments about gun control, media, go back to normal. What is it, May? By end of the summer, we might be having this conversation again. I don't want to. I want to think something comes of this.
It's not.
No one, well, here's a plus. It's been, because in the midst of all this, we almost forgot. It's been 2 years. Excuse me. It's been 2 years since Derek Chauvin's bitch ass executed George Floyd. Things have changed. Has it been a drastic change that we thought? Not exactly. But things have changed. Pigs are being prosecuted. You don't just get to execute black men and women anymore, and that shit flies.
If you're known, because like I said, the people, like I said, and oddly enough, there is a show called In the City or whatever, We the City, whatever, on HBO, based off a true story in Baltimore.
Oh, we own this city.
So yeah, we own the city. We own. Based on a true story of real people, real cops that, my mother actually knows some of them. So, or seen them in the courtroom. She's a lawyer, by the way. It's like, yeah, I had that. What was I saying? Yeah, you're relying that on the people that get prosecuted, it actually gets out. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't get out that we will never hear about because you're asking them to police themselves. which they don't, or hold each other accountable, which they don't. And if they do, something happens to them, like they did here. And there's an actual show about it. That's probably as close to accurate as it can be. But because that almost happened with who's the brother's name that went for a jog and they killed him?
Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah, him. That happened when we finally heard about it. That thing happened what, a year or two ago? From when we heard the actual charges being brought up.
I think it happened in January and we didn't hear about it for months later.
I thought it was like a year or two.
No, it hadn't been that long.
I knew it was a long time to the point they were sitting on it. And that I think the mayor and that chief and all them were in on it. The reason why it didn't get done sooner.
I don't think it went as high as the mayor because the buck stopped with the prosecutor and the prosecutor doesn't prosecute. Well, we're done here.
Either way, you see how crooked that is?
Of course. It's systemic.
And that's why that's the scary part to me. Like, that's why I said nothing's changed, because there's a lot of stuff down in the dark that we'll never know about. So this is just the stuff that's done in the light, and they're barely getting convicted now. It's not even a guarantee. That's why I said nothing's changed. Because if I'm in the middle of on a road trip in the middle of freaking nowhere, Resident Evil 4 style or Texas Chainsaw Massacre style, and I get stopped by a pig and something happens to me, end up missing, who the hell's going to know? So
I think George Floyd did when we had our conversation. For those who remember, we had a conversation about Kendrick's Fifth Heartbeat versus Donald Glover, Charles Gambino's This Is America, and I said, "This is America held up the mirror. You can't deny the reflection." George Floyd held up the mirror, and America can't deny the reflection. And you can, oh, he was a drug addict and he was at it all you want, because a lot of you white folks tried it. That man, Candace Owens. But you can't deny the reflection. And I think from that point to this one, when we see things that even come close to that, there's a reaction now.
Can't deny it. People, we're denying it now. They're denying things that happened in the 60s and before that. They're denying that and how we were treated. Like, we don't have people still alive during that time. They deny it. Like, it's not in our history books. They deny it. You're denying those reparations because it's that. You're denying saying that pigs are heroes and that there's not racism still, that this has changed. It's 2022. You're denying that there's no systematic racism. I don't know what you're talking about. You have every advantage possible, welfare, blah, 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 blah. They deny it now. So that's what I'm saying. You putting a mirror to their face. There's been a mirror for hundreds of years in your face. It's probably pictures of your ancestors, your grandparents doing some crazy, standing next to a black man mutilated and tortured. And you, like, the pictures is already there. That's what the 60s was about. We already put a mirror to your face. We didn't need George Floyd to die for you to look in the fucking mirror. You already deny it. And you're still denying it. That's why I said nothing has changed. So I'm like, nah, I'm done trying to put a mirror. Because the next thing we put up will not be a mirror, it will be a pistol. Eventually. So, like, I don't know what else we can do at this point.
Well, like I said, I think there has been progress made from George Floyd's death to now. Is it leaps and bounds? No. But, the Berlin Wall didn't fall in a day. It took time, and you keep chipping at that thing. Am I happy about the direction we're possibly going? Yeah. Am I happy about how long it's taking? No.
I'm not happy about the direction.
Because it seems like, and if you're not careful, you got to be careful and sift through it. If it ain't the pigs killing us, it's white supremacists killing us. And I'm like, that's the new pigs. Now I got to worry about walking into a store and some angry white boy with a gun and a vendetta coming at me. You know what I mean? So it ain't the cops. I got to worry about this shit.
We're still worried about the same stuff we were worried about 50 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Where is the change happening? Why are you looking forward to stuff when you just said white supremacy? That's not going anywhere. So if that's not going anywhere, and maybe
Well,
what 4 out of 10 cops that kill somebody unarmed gets evicted, I mean, gets convicted. That's not making me feel safer walking outside, breathing in the fresh air. That's not changing enough.
well, I'm gonna
And
rewind time. I'm
and
gonna
two,
rewind time for you.
well,
Uh,
two. Well, I
J-
was gonna say is one last part. Now I'll let you go. And
hmm?
two, you said it's taking a long time, but it's getting there. We don't have time. We're out of time. We don't have. We've been patiently waiting for forever. If it's not going to move drastically, then there's no point.
Um, no shit. It took from July 4th, 1776 to June 19th, 1865 for us to be quote unquote free. A lot of things don't move fast when it comes to our folk, but it does in fact move. Should it move faster? I absolutely agree.
And then there was
Should we
Jim
be
Crow and all that other stuff in place of it, still under white supremacy, still being killed, still doing all that other stuff. Only thing is, I don't work for you for free anymore. But
right?
so I mean, so not being free, but still treated as a quarter of a human is
Well,
progress. It
well,
is.
you can't snatch me up and hang me from a tree anymore.
So
Now
that's the
that's not saying
progress.
that's a super high bar, but you can't snatch me up and hang me from a fucking tree anymore. There's no more strange fruit, right? Because I also don't want to pretend we ain't been through. We are not. There are certain things we are not facing right now. I get it. We should be further along down this path, but there are certain things we are not facing right now. I don't have to drink from a colors only water fountain anymore. I can sit where the hell I want on a bus, for instance. So
True.
strides have been made. I just think we should be further along, but I'm not going to lose hope that these things don't get done.
I will.
Now, am I 100% certain that if there was this much doubt, a pig feared for their life and I'm killed, they're going to get convicted?
That's my
But
point.
we're getting convictions now. You don't just get to erase me
Some,
and nothing happened to you.
yes, you do. Some do. Not everyone is not getting convicted. Like I said, I don't pay attention to all the damn cases and all that, but a lot of them are still walking.
Well, I
So it's
mean, the
so
day
it's
you
like,
get a cop on a murder one is going to be a mean thing. So I can't think of too many cops that go on a murder one,
that's
murder
not
two, manslaughter, but murder one, like
no
as
no.
you thought that shit out,
Yeah, it's
the
gonna be a
cop
while.
that shot I'm paying attention to that case from Grand Rapids where the brother was face down, the pig shot him in the back of the head. That reeks of murder one to me.
A lot of these Rico murder one, but we know that's not gonna happen. But like I said, I don't know. Progress to me would just be like I said, and I don't get it twisted. I am not saying we have as bad as we did 50 or 100, when we're in change, hell no. But it's still bad. There is still some stench that still carries over now.
Hmm?
That's just the system in place that was not around there and then it's still there now.
Right,
Um, it just mutated.
right.
So the day I can say that, we're not, if I'm still living in this country and still breathing, that, we can wake up and say it's not a white supremacist system. I can actually feel safe being no matter where I'm at, no matter who is in that location or who's the majority, but I can still feel comfortable to a certain extent and not feel like because of some a race, like violence against me because of race. That'll be the day. That day ain't never
Mm.
coming. Not in this system. I said,
Well,
now if this system falls on my lifetime, we come up with something else, then I'm with you. But as long as it's up, you just keep giving us breadcrumbs. The same way you've been doing, like making this progress slow as hell already. Breadcrumbs, breadcrumbs. Like I said,
right.
what? You finally made, like I said, I don't You finally made what, the lynching thing of what, a federal crime or a hate crime, what, last year or this year or 2 years ago? It's like I don't know. You gave us what? Juneteenth. Thank you. Thank
Yeah, and Walmart gave us Juneteenth ice cream until we all clowned them for it. But continue.
Like, yeah, thank you. You keep giving us holidays, and then you gave us the month, shortest month of the year. That's real progress. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Well,
who's it?
I will say this. I'm gonna leave it here. Normally, this is the part where we discuss a couple other things. No, not this time. I want to agree with you. I want to leave it here. I want to make people sit with this time. We'll get lighthearted and fun next go around, but I think folks that listen need to sit with this one because we're forced to sit with this one. And some of this defies race because I don't care who you are, dead kids is a problem, right? That's period point blank. Dead kids is a problem. So
Babies.
so I will do my recap, run it back recap on what the conversations I think need to be started that lead to solutions. As we said, I believe there needs to be a conversation on mental health. There needs to be a conversation on bullying. There is a long-standing conversation that needs to be held about the necessity of guns at all. Stop sucking from the Second Amendment teat. If you are so scared about not having guns, that's a whole nother conversation right there. Um, there's a long-standing conversation that needs to be had about the efficacy of law enforcement. This isn't me or my usual fuck the police shit. This is me looking at a situation that might not have resulted in so many dead kids if law enforcement were the heroes they were made out to be. Um, you start having those conversations, I think we start inching towards real solutions. But those are tough conversations no one wants to have. Notice I didn't say we need to have a conversation on gun control. I think that'll happen almost by default. Because when you start talking about mental health, so on and so forth, law enforcement, we're going to bump into eventually, well, do we really need guns? When you have an honest conversation about the necessities of the Second Amendment and actually having guns, we'll bump into that. I don't think gun control, as we always do, is that conversation needs to quote unquote happen per se. We need to have the conversations surrounding it, and I think by default we arrive there. But that's my recap. Those are the conversations I believe we need to start really having if we want to prevent the monster. Because, you know, if you're a pissed off, psychopathic, borderline suicidal white guy or pissed off, psychopathic, borderline suicidal 18-year-old, but you got no guns, kind of hard to stab 18 people to death. Just saying. Just saying. Your recap, sir.
Yeah, real conversations that we need to have is not happening. You know, we can't thoughts and prayers our way out of this. We actually have to do something. Like I said, I understand the sentiment. I get it. You're upset, and that's usually what we do when we have things out of our control. But the sad part is this isn't out of our control. This could have been avoided. Like I said, real conversations. And maybe if we have real conversations, we might be able to avoid the next one that happens in the next 2 months or so. Yeah, like I said, the marriage to the Second Amendment, like I said, I think humans forget that we, in our whole inception, we did not have guns from the beginning. We had tools, not guns. They seem to be doing pretty fine. I mean, I don't, like I said, not saying they didn't have mass murderers and stuff with swords and arrows. I'm saying it's be a lot harder to do.
Plenty of armies kill plenty of people without guns.
Exactly. I mean, if your main excuse is the government thing, like you said, that's a whole nother issue. And you might just want to get out of here. And if you don't trust them that much, or do something about it. Stop voting the same people in that you don't trust. Like I said, I've never heard of a boss being afraid of their employee. I mean, yeah, because we're the boss. They're our employees, and yet we're afraid of them.
Go figure.
That Makes no sense. But uh, yeah, I think that's all we got. Like I said, people have this mental health conversations, but don't really have it and don't really do anything to it. We just react when people have their mental disabilities or just outbursts, and then we blame them and blame everyone around them instead of get finding the real solution of the environment and why they are where they are, and pay attention to the signs. No one does that. Pay attention to when it's in your face. But hey, but I think that's all I got.
Well, um, I'm gonna hope third time's a charm because two shows in as many weeks, and we've had to talk about mass death. I don't. I am hoping we don't have to have this conversation in a week. But on behalf of my co-host and myself, I hope you all stay safe, stay aware, and we want you back here next week to hear what else we've got to say, and hopefully we can lighten the mood a little bit because there won't be some madman with a gun who decides to kill everyone but himself. That noted, you all be safe. Have a great weekend. Yeah, for the Asset Podcast. Peace.
Yeah.